Welcome back to another episode of Audio Bar. I'm your host, Mike Sains, as always. Sitting next to me, my co-host and guitar player for the band Moogatu, Chris Lee. We're here live at Blue Hippo Recordings in Centreville, Virginia. With us today, a band up from Richmond who was here from a show last night at Gypsy Sally's. Big Mama Shakes, thank you gentlemen for being here.
Thanks for having us.
We're going to go left to right for our listeners and the viewers. Introduce yourself, your name, and what you play in the band.
I'm Peter Kaysen, I play bass.
I'm Bryce Doyle, I play keys.
Gabriel Taylor, play guitar.
Chandler Matkins, I play drums.
Brady Heck, I'm our vocalist.
Excellent. So how was the show last night?
Great. It was our first time in that venue.
Yeah.
First time in the DC area playing?
No, we've been up in DC multiple times, but
First time at Gypsy Sally's.
Mhm.
Yeah,
What are
Gypsy
some
Sally's.
other spots you've hit in Dayton?
DC 9, tons of house shows.
I was just there.
Babe City.
Iona.
yeah.
D-Street's fun.
Yeah.
No, DC 9 is awesome. We love DC 9.
So tell us a little bit about the history. How'd you guys come together? How did Big Mama Shakes form and as the version you are today here?
Pete, Brady.
It formed the same way I feel like every band fucking forms. Just a divulgence of bands that we had in high school coming together into one thing now. Pete and I used to play together in our first band ever when we were freshmen in high school, like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And then
Playing
Chandler
jack
played
covers.
drums in another band that was at the same school we went to, and then years down the road, and here we are. We just suck a whole lot less now.
Was this all down in Richmond?
No.
No, we're
We're from Williamsburg.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Historic
town.
Colonial Williamsburg.
The
Yeah.
Dirty Bird.
You want a lively Saturday night? That's where you go.
Can I ask what there is to do in Williamsburg?
You go to
as a
Colonial
musician?
Williamsburg.
Yeah.
You walk around, you try to scare the ghost tour people.
Yeah.
Sort of hop out of bushes.
Or you watch the sheep. And see
Sheep are
the-
fun.
That sounds crazy.
Ride
Yeah.
a horse,
Wash the
take a
sheep.
You
carriage.
piss
I got-
in your front yard.
I
I
got-
mean, that's
I got bit by a horse one time.
Oh, I was there for that.
Yeah.
That was exciting.
I was afraid it
How
was
does
just going to
one-
not let go.
How does one get bit
I
by a
was just
horse?
petting this horse.
he
and the
stuck
horse
his
just went-
hands in his fucking mouth. That's how he got
The horse didn't go after his head. He's petting the horse and then just sort of like shoves his hand under there. And the horse is like, all right, this is food now. It's just-
Hand is food
And it
now.
just kept like slowly getting tighter and tighter on my finger. I was like, no, no, no.
yeah, no, I could hear Pete go like, hey, ow, 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 ow.
I just,
So how many years of this? How many years of this goes by before y'all decide we should take it up?
well, let's see. I was 20 when I moved. No, I was 19.
It says we formed in like August of 2013 is when we started practicing, and we had our first show in Richmond in February of 2014, opening up for a group called Black Girls at their residency at the Camel for 2 months in a row, and then that really got our foot in the door, and then we made like the official move like exactly a year after we started practicing. So like August of 2014, we like made the
It's a
big
nice anniversary.
Yeah, we Richmond at the time, not as many eyes were on Richmond as there are now, but right now there's so many eyes on Richmond.
talk about
so
that.
It was a good choice. You know?
What's your experience been so far in the Richmond scene, and what is that?
It's exploding as a scene right now. So many people are coming out of there. I mean, J. Roddy Walston is big out of there. The Head and the Heart are big out of there. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Lucy Dacus, but she's an artist that just got
She's
signed.
blowing up. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's
She
actually.
was just in the New York Times a couple days ago.
Richmond has a great music scene. My friend's band PBR is getting pretty
Oh,
big.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
the
know a
Trongoni
ton of
band
bands in
here.
Richmond.
Yeah.
Lots of bands from
Yeah.
Really
Richmond.
good friends with Johnny.
Yep, great guy.
And
Yeah.
Trongoni, yeah.
Yeah, they were
And
just
Southern
here.
Bell's another.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, it's-
we're
The whole scene there
I
is
think we're
exploding.
playing with them soon.
I don't think there are any bad bands in Richmond, are there?
No, there's definitely bad
Oh,
bands.
There's just so many bands.
I've fucking seen it.
No, there's just so many bands. There's bound to be some good ones.
Right.
Sure.
That's really what it is.
I haven't
I mean,
seen a lot. I was just saying, I haven't
If
seen
you
a lot
like
of
hit
bad
up a
bands.
house show, you're bound to see pretty much like 90% not great bands.
I mean, you want names because we can
No,
make a list.
no,
There's
no.
this
We
sort
can
of
fix
like,
it in post.
you have this urban environment, but also there's a college town atmosphere with
Yeah.
like college kids and young bands. Like I don't even know how old you gentlemen are, but like it's a very young scene, it seems.
Well, there's like, there are older bands as well. There's a lot of like the scene is is very inclusive. Richmond, I've found, has like a million little circles, and they all overlap in some way.
Like what, for example?
Well, like Gabe was saying that there's a large house show circuit in Richmond, and there is
Huge house.
and there's a lot of really cool bands that come out of there too, like really kind of like off the wall bands, but
we did that.
they're amazing,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
you know, and they all hang out with like I don't know, the proggy kids that go to Gallery 5,
Sure.
and you know, they hang out with the punk kids that went to our house before it got
Strange
bulldozed.
Man.
Or Smatter, yeah.
Is there a house party of significance that people would know? A yearly event, a monthly event, something like that? Or they just
No,
occur,
it's
they
just
pop up?
all over the time, all over.
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
the time.
it's just constantly like Ezra Miller plays the Flash in the Batman v
The
Superman,
Flash.
and his band was playing at a house show in Richmond that I went to a few months ago.
Yeah.
It was
No
I was just going to
shit.
see
Yeah.
a guy's band that I knew, and then I show up and they're like, "Yeah, we're opening for Sons of
Ezra
an
Miller.
Illustrious Father," and it was just a house show, and Ezra Miller was there hanging out with us.
Yeah, and that'll happen in Richmond.
It's crazy.
like,
What did
much-
he tell you?
Pretty much any given Friday or Saturday night, there's going to be like multiple house shows.
Big DIY.
yeah,
scene.
big deal, but
Yeah,
also like a
yeah.
big, really supportive mainstream scene as well. There's like a good amount of venues, and most of them are like absolutely fantastic about trying to help bands become like more I don't know, experienced and like really help them come into their own.
Who would you say were people like that for you guys as a band? People that have helped foster you as a band into the
Lucas
scene?
Fritz.
Black Girls,
Yeah.
Lucas.
What brought us
Yeah,
into
as
it.
far as like
That's from
a
the
like
Camel?
yeah,
Yep.
if you're,
Yeah, the Camel's
yeah,
great
if you're,
spot.
If you're gonna talk about like a specific person that's really like helped us
It's like a mentor type.
get a. I don't know that I would say. I know that I would say mentor type, but just as far as like
We've got
always
one of
being.
those too.
Yeah, but just always being willing to allow us to get a show when we need a show,
Yeah. He's-
and going out of his way to put us on shows even when we don't need them that could benefit us, and then ended up giving us a residency at the beginning of this year at the Camel.
You're playing the
Um,
first Thursday,
Yeah,
right?
and this is and that's Lucas Fritz. He's the owner operator of
one of
Broadberry.
the owners
One
of
of
the
them.
Camel and one of the owners of the Broadberry.
Yeah, so that's like a sister. you
Actually,
know.
haven't been to the Broadberry yet. I know it's
Oh,
been
it's
open for a
killer.
couple years, but
It's
Killer.
fantastic.
They got an ATM that only dispenses $1 bills. You could.
oh
check
yeah.
it
It used to be
Oh,
a strip
yeah.
club,
Winking
so-
at the camera.
Hit up Club Rouge afterwards.
What are some goals that y'all still have for the city of Richmond? Venues you'd like to play, things you'd like to do as a band?
I think the goal now is to move beyond Richmond.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think we've grown, maybe not as much as we want to, but we want to press beyond it now.
Yeah.
Sure. It's the evolution of any band.
What's sort of your touring schedule now? You just hitting Virginia, hitting.
Well,
other
we
areas?
We're
we
weekend
announced
warrioring. Right
yeah
now.
we're weekend warring right now, but we announced at our show at the end of August at the Broadberry, like when school was coming back in and everything, there's like a rush of like 30,000 people,
Mhm.
coming back to Virginia Commonwealth. We announced a winter tour at that show, so we're going to be going to places that we've been before, and some places that we have never even been in the state, let alone the cities that we're going to, and that includes like Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are the 3 states that we haven't been to before that we're going to, but like Pittsburgh, Cincinnati,
Cool.
Nashville, Knoxville.
Rust Belt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. So we're gonna weekend warrior a couple of those dates, and then there's like a stretch of like 8 or 9 days that are like back to back to back in between that. So
And to be fair, our van is in the shop right now, so we can't get out on the road that much.
yeah, we would have pulled up in our van today, but yeah,
But I slammed it into the back of a guy because it didn't have any brake fluid. So
which we didn't know. We were like, oh,
Surprise.
surprise.
Wow. So, how long do you guys play live before you start recording these things and you have your first album, As She Goes? Is that the name of it?
As She
As She
Does.
Does.
As She Does. How long playing live in between recording that album?
We started recording that album in December of 2014,
Yeah.
but it was all already written, with the exception of like 2 songs on the album. It was all already written and arranged.
So you'd really only been together for about a year before you decided we're going to put this down.
When we put it out, we had been together for about
A year and a half.
like a little over a year and a half
Wow.
when we actually put it out.
That's good.
Yeah. But it was we dropped it like 3 days after we played like the biggest show we had ever done. We did a huge festival called Big Field Day in Richmond, and the headliners were the likes of Incubus, Passion Pit, Dirty Heads. Jay Roddy was on it, Robert DeLong, Catfish in the Bottlemen. Like, huge.
Never heard of any of those.
Well, I mean,
Kind of under the radar.
Yeah, but they that was killer, and we dropped it like 3 days after that, and that helped us out a lot. So,
make a lot of new fans at one time.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
and it was
it was
great.
sold out. We
And it-
almost-
yeah,
we
it
sold
was
out
the
of all of our T-shirts.
Yeah,
that
it
day.
was the first.
That's gotta be cool.
Oh, we lost our merch. It was great. We sold like a whole box of CDs, and but it was just such perfect timing because that date had already been set to release the album that day, and we just so happened to get on that festival.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like,
so there was
3
no
days
like
before.
targeted approach on
No,
this.
No,
just
it just
lucked
happened.
out.
And we were like, whoa. We were like, that could, because then we could give, not like we expected anything to happen, but there were so many, people that are very significant there. You can give people CDs and all this different stuff. We're
Yeah.
surrounded by people that like, you always like, you never think that you're gonna like, get around those people, and then you do, and you're like, man, like how lucky are we that timed out the way it did?
Yeah,
So,
kind of
yeah.
fell backwards into serendipity.
Yeah.
But so let's talk about the albums and the process a little bit. I mean, this is very. Before I start to try and put words in anyone's mouth, how would y'all describe the sound of Big Mama Shakes as a band?
When there's two different things.
Loaded question.
That's what
Shut
we
up, man.
that's what we call there's what we called it when we started, and then there's what we call it now, because it's transformed a lot.
Let's go through both.
And when we first started, we called it soul rock, and it wasn't even necessarily the album as much as just the live show was very much that.
Mm-hmm.
And as the band transformed and more influences were pulled in, Brady, take the reins.
Yeah, shut up,
Yeah,
Cheng. Well, yeah, it's when the whole thing came together. So, just like backstory. So, Bryce and Gabe are our newest members. Their predecessors. The band was actually started between our original keyboard player Elijah and we had the idea to kind of do like a blues rock revival sort of deal. And so the original lineup in the first year or so, it was very much so like an Allman Brothers inspired blues band with like bluegrass roots too, because our guitar player also played mandolin, so there's a whole lot of that influence.
You can hear it in the album.
Yeah, exactly. And that As She Does was recorded with the original members.
Okay. Okay.
So, and that's why it's got that sound to it, because that was the original idea of it.
Yeah, very almost like a Western storytelling vibe on some of those tracks.
Yeah.
Sinner's Hymn and things like
Yeah.
that. Lemons.
So, but that was what we were kind of going for originally, Elijah and I. But then, as things progressed and as they left the band, I wanted to take on more of an antiquated idea of songwriting. Do more of a throwback and mix like Americana and folk music with like 60s soul, and that's where we're heading towards now, I think.
When you combine those two elements, who do you see as the main influences in your head? The Venn diagram.
Oh
the
god,
intersection of those.
that's almost an impossible question to answer.
I mean, we can,
There's so
in the
many.
albums you can hear Springsteen influences. things
Springsteen
like
is such a huge influence in what I write, and that's thankfully we've been able to not become a Springsteen cover band. We've got musicians that are. I had lost my train of thought entirely.
We're just extremely
everybody's
diverse
diverse
people.
enough as
Oh,
a
yeah.
musician to
Mhm.
make it work. But there's the Springsteen storytelling aspect that I'm going for. But then also Peter and Caleb, our old guitar player, the three of us took a road trip to Muscle Shoals and went to Fame Studios
Nice.
for a day, like on a whim. And while we were there, I think we were all kind of touched by that whole place and the people that have played there. So a lot of the things that came out of that studio, like Wilson Pickett or anything that came out of that era has become more of an influence, and that was really heard, I think, on the If I Try EP.
Mhm.
You can hear it on songs like If I Try, was the big one with that.
I mean, Weight of a Heavy Heart almost ends in like a chant almost.
Yeah.
Just over and over, like almost like a spiritual vibe kind of.
Yeah, but that's the whole idea, and that's the direction that I think we're trying to move in. But God only knows where it'll go from here.
What's the curious to what the songwriting process is like? Is there a principal songwriter? Do you all get in a room, or how does it work?
Hey,
Yeah,
how's
that's what I figured.
That was good.
That's me. I write the majority of, I write almost all of our music, lyrically and structurally. When the band comes in is when things really take form. But, I guess in the same way most people do, I sit there with an acoustic guitar and write a song. But it all starts off as, sad little folk songs played on a Martin, and then we're able to turn it into whatever the guys can come up with.
Well, I feel like that's the base of a really good song. It's got to sound good.
Yeah,
completely
that's
stripped
the
down.
mentality. I believe that if you can't write a song that you can play by yourself, then fuck off.
Yeah, fuck off.
You fucking hear that?
Yeah. Fucking hear that?
So what is it like for you guys then? He has a song created, brings it to you guys. What happens from there?
Well, usually
That's
what'll
where the magic
happen,
happens.
it's funny, because, like, I've been best friends with Brady for, like, 8 years now?
Yeah.
And so, like, we hang out a lot, whether it's at, like, Grammy's place, or now we live together, and so we'll just, like, hang out, and it'll just
We're
be
life partners.
messing around. Basically. Seriously, basically. But no, we'll just be, like, messing around. I'll go, like, yo, what's that? Because that doesn't sound like something that we sounded before. And he'll just go, oh, it's just something new I'm working on. I'm like, well, finish it now. Like, The Fighter, I had to, like, painfully push Brady to finish it.
That has been a recurring theme. For whatever reason, I'll start writing a piece of music, not finish it. 2 months later, show my snippet to Peter, and he'll be like, what the fuck? What's wrong with you?
Finish it right now.
We need more stuff.
We
And
just premiered like a new song at that same
Yeah,
show
that
when we
is-
told the tour dates, and that's like exactly what happened. Was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
he had been sitting on it and showed it to no one, or showed it to Pete or whatever.
I was
and
just
then
like,
he just
we had I guess like
You knew it existed.
yeah.
yeah, he did.
No,
We
no,
did.
yeah,
We
no,
did
the
not.
rest of us
He
did
came
I
not.
haven't
into
showed anybody.
He came
Neither
into the practice
confirm nor
space with
deny.
it. Yeah, he came into the practice space like I don't know, like
Well, I don't know,
2-3
'cause, like,
weeks before
Honestly,
that show.
if I told you about every single time Brady showed me a snippet of a song, you'd be like, well, where's our 6th album now?
right,
Like-
so much.
Yeah, but no, I mean, so we premiered the song at the Broadberry.
The song is called?
It's called "Oh Virginia." We're not playing it today. We're keeping that, But
Yeah. In the pocket.
But yeah, so we're playing this gig down in Middleburg, and we had some downtime, and Brady's just like on stage playing, and then like he starts playing this really, really nice sounding thing. I'm like, hey man, who's that song by? He's like, oh, it's just a little thing like I've been working on, and we're all like, all right, hold up, we are working on this right now.
No, my first thought was, I'm really jealous that this isn't one of ours. And then he was like, oh no, it's one I wrote. And I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Like,
so we all get up on the stage, like no one's in the room yet, it's just us. And we start jamming on it a little bit, and then we had practice like either that night or the next day, and we like worked through the whole thing. And
It's like cramming for homework almost. Or
Yeah,
a project.
kinda.
yeah, but I mean
Definitely.
like
It works, though. Like, he'll come up with something, and then usually, whenever I have to, like, push him to finish it, I'll, like, sit down with a bass. I'm like, come on, this sounds cool, right? But have a bass line with it, or, like, do harmonies with him. It's like, see, like, it's becoming a complete thought here. And he's like, okay, and then he'll finish it. And so when he brings it to the practice space, I've already got a little kernel of something I'm working with for it. And then Gabe's really quick, and Bryce here are both really quick with coming up with some really cool parts. And Cheng always figures out how to find a fun flair on drums.
I think that Brady brings so much stuff just like fiddling around in the practice space, but when there's every once in a while he like brings in a song and you're like in it. I think we finish songs like he takes a long time to write them, but we finish songs very quickly. Just because the moment we all agree that we like something, it's just like that's the only thing we see is like
we know
getting
where it's
to
got to
the
go.
end product, So
I think a really good thing about Brady's songwriting for any band is that he leaves a lot of space in it for everybody to kind of do their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So he brings up a really cool kind of stripped down song, and then there's room for every one of us to do our own thing in there.
So, past the EP that you guys put out in April, what are you guys looking at towards down the line? I mean, do we have stuff in the incubator right now? I mean, it's a long process.
There's definitely a loaf of bread cooking in that oven.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been playing 2 songs, 2 new songs at shows recently. One of which we'll be playing today.
Very good.
And from there, I mean, I don't think we're in any. I definitely think that we're starting to get to that like antsy point where we want to make because an EP is like it isn't like completely satisfying.
It's a good teaser.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like
Where
it's
you're
like
at right
it's
now.
like it makes you want to do more. So I think that where we're at right now is like we're starting to get back into that like antsy feeling where we're like we need to. And I think that this time around we were talking about it. I think we're going. The first 2 things were recorded in the completely completely in the same way, same studio, same sound engineer, and I think that we're gonna try and go new studio, new sound. Not necessarily because we didn't like that. It's just we're looking for something new and trying different
We wanna
things.
grow.
Yeah,
Right.
so I think we're going new studio, new sound engineer. Continuing to craft the sound. And I think this time around, hopefully we'll get into the studio soon and try and write a lot of it in studio.
Does this all go to a label somewhere, or is this all self-released?
Self-released.
We've self-released up to this point. We are looking forward to doing that.
Mhm.
We're that is definitely in
We're definitely
eyesight.
ready to self-release another, if we have to.
But
we're also
we're giving it time to, because there's been things in the works, and we've met a lot of people over the last couple months since the EP was released and touring over the summer and all that stuff, and I think that we're okay with giving this next one its time because there could be something potentially that could aid us in releasing that album, so no rush.
Very good. Well, let's talk a little bit about how you guys get the sound that you create. I mean, like you clearly have a vision of what you want to do with the material Brady comes up with. You form these songs. How do you get the sound that you guys have?
Yeah, you guys have
Gabe's a
some.
wizard.
Seriously though.
It's all alchemy and magic somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we
Couple pentagrams.
personally.
Hail Satan!
I'm just kidding. My mother would not like to hear that. Sorry, Mom.
But no, we I know each one of us is very different. I think that's a huge reason why we can talk shit to each other so hard, and
It is a family atmosphere.
and we love each other, and we also love hating each other. And
Me and
but
Peter almost beat each other up in D.C. when we went on tour.
yeah, that's right. That's
Holy
right.
shit, it was crazy.
It was fucking great. Now the bouncers came outside you guys need to move
Yeah.
away from it.
They're outside the
getting
venue like, fuck you, man! It's like,
I'll
get
punch
the
you right in the fucking throat! Oh hell no!
Oh, well, sidebar.
Little
What's
something like
can you tell
that.
us a funniest story of like that?
Yeah, it sounds like there's some
That
gems.
might,
Her parents will watch this.
We can take it out if you want.
I think that
With
That
Chandler
might-
losing his hat, Chandler dropping his phone in the toilet, Chandler...
All in the same 3-hour period.
yeah, I had a good time in Baltimore, and I just lost everything I own.
We leave the venue. He's like, oh, shit, guys, I left my charger, and we're like, I don't care. It's 3:00 in the morning. We're not turning around. You'll get a new one. He's like, okay. Rolls the window down, sticks his head out the window. Guys, I lost my hat.
My favorite hat. It's just like, I need
really
fresh
like
air.
that hat.
Yep, and then, then I didn't need the phone charger anymore because I decided to go home and just throw my phone in the toilet. So I didn't need the charger anymore, so there was nothing there.
These are the decisions we make at 3 a.m.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so.
Back to the sound a little bit, though. You are some gearheads. You came in here with a briefcase full of pedals.
Yeah,
Like,
you
Yeah.
brought
let's-
some jet fuel in here.
Yeah, Jay, about some jet fuel in here.
Yeah.
These steel beams we got over
Yeah.
here.
I don't know,
That one
man.
didn't count, Peter. You didn't say it.
I know.
Nobody knows what we're talking about. We're not taking this out. Anyway, pedals,
All right.
amps,
Pedals,
guitar.
All right.
sounds.
Well, no, like personally, I got into pedals pretty recently, actually, within the last year. Me and Brady have always been super into Fender. Really liked like checking out whatever like weird stuff we can find too. A few years ago, Brady owned 2 Dan Electros, and
Nice.
I still hate him for selling them.
What's sorry to interrupt
Sorry,
you,
you're
but I
fine.
need to know what that weird
The
pedal is on
weird
the
like
joysticks?
RC, yeah. So it's the
It's actually a remote control car.
it is. I just put it there to
What?
fuck with people.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it drives around the audience while we're
It's
playing.
not.
I can choose
Selling
yeah, it's our merch girl. I gotta fucking wire that thing to do that now. No, it's from Walrus Audio. I was just telling you about before. We've fallen in love with Walrus Audio,
Yeah.
and it's the Janus.
The Janus.
Yeah, it's like the Greek god,
Yeah,
two-faced.
like Janus Films.
Mhm. And but no, it's actually 2-in-1. It's a trem and a fuzz, and so the joysticks, you can control the trem on the X and Y axis along with the fuzz. So and they're tall enough where you can fuck with it with your foot. So like we've got one song, Golden Boy, where it just starts off with like a guitar, and then like the whole band just drops for this big old powerful chord, and I just rip the trem out, just make it start low and deep, and then just boom, 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 boom. Yeah, it's just like it's really cool. Like the X-axis is for the depth, and the Y-axis for speed. And
Oh, I
yeah,
get it now.
yeah. So
Okay.
you can just
That
fuck with it
sounds
with your
bad
foot.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's great. So like if you bring it all the way down to like the shallow end and like in the middle, it just acts as a kind of a gnarly overdrive. You push the level for it for bass. It's really nice. But but yeah, I mean, we've got me and Brady especially have got super into gear.
Yeah.
Finding the tone and all that.
Yeah, we've become
Which,
tone
primarily
junkies.
we're a Telecaster band.
Yeah.
Yeah, for keys, my first keyboard that I started with this band was it's a Roland FA08. So it's a full 88 workstation. It's a spaceship. It's got like a TV screen on it, screensaver
Oh, I
cartoons.
think I
and
know
stuff.
those.
It's
fucking
It's got this like
It's-
infrared beam thing.
It has an
It's
infrared
like a-
beam that'll track your hand to modulate the sound. It's a really cool
Yeah.
board.
Skynet shit.
But the thing is like music like this uses literally none of that. And so the board is so focused in so many directions that this music.
Are you just
will never
mainly
go.
using an organ piano and a Rhodes or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that keyboard isn't. It's a great board, but it doesn't push tone very well at high volume.
Okay.
And so, like a month or so ago, I went out and got this Korg SV1. So it's got the analog internals, and it's simpler. It's kind of like it just does 3 things really well, and that totally changed how I play. And I'm still getting used to that board.
Yes.
It's really cool.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and the way it pushes live sound at high volume is just so
Solid.
much
There's a
cleaner.
tube in there
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, it's
It's
literally
a tube preamp.
It's
Nice.
really cool.
Very cool.
Well, tell us about the songs y'all are going to play today, because I think we're getting right about on the cusp here. So, what do you think we're going to be hearing?
So we're gonna be playing one off the first album, one off the EP, and a new one. The first one we're playing is Freight off the first album, and then we're playing the title track off the EP, which is If I Try, and then we're playing a new song called Hen House.
Excellent. And if people wanted to catch you guys later on down the road or online, where could they do that?
We have everything you can think of. We have Facebook, we have Twitter at big_mama_shakes. Same thing on Instagram. Free to stream on Spotify if you have Pro. All our stuff is on SoundCloud as well. iTunes if you want to help us get home.
iTunes.
Yeah, please.
So go iTunes. I mean it's on everything. And as far as upcoming shows go, I would just say you can subscribe to our events on Facebook and on our website, www.bigmamashakes.com. And our next show is in Charlottesville, opening up for Wild Child at the Southern.
Excellent.
Yep.
Well, before we wrap, anything else y'all would like to say? The floor is open before we start playing.
Put it
Looking
in
at
right
you.
now. Do it.
Looking at you.
Well, no, I was just thinking like I don't know if you've ever heard of ZVEX pedals.
I have.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, I tell you what, I got this walrus over there. It's insane.
Yeah.
It'll blow a hole in the side of this building and there won't be any debris.
You heard it here.
That's it. You own it. You own him. Nugget right now. I want it.
I love you.
Channel.
Yes!
I gotta.
That was good.
So well done. It was good. I was waiting for it. I was like, is he really?